let me make this clear. This is not better than Battle of Gods. Not even close. It's not even on par. But is it worth calling it like one of the worst movies of the franchise? No. This still has a lot of really good things to enjoy about it, but it could definitely be better in multiple different ways. So, let's talk about it. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Anime Station. I'm Jay Brand, the animation, including 2 Super Saiyans that fight for the fate of the Earth, and welcome to my review of the controversial sequel that is Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F. I do still really like this movie, okay? I have a lot of problems with it, but I still overall really enjoy it. And please excuse my attire. I tried to dress in purple because it's a movie about Frieza, and that's the color I associate most with him. Not to mention I don't really have anything white right now, so... well, you're getting purple, so... without further ado, this one's not going to be nearly as long as the Battle of Gods review, because I'm not going to have as much to say. We're just going to go through the summary, which should be... yeah, the summary is much shorter than the Battle of Gods one, because this one doesn't have as much world building or any of that kind of stuff. This one is a direct sequel to Battle of Gods, and I believe it takes place a few years after. I don't know. It will tell us when we get to time placement. But the point is, this is going to be a much shorter video, so sit back and enjoy. Let's begin. Here is my review of Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, requested by Brett Sutton. Peace has returned to Earth following the battle with Beerus, the God of Destruction. In the previous movie, while the deceased Frieza is trapped in a cocoon in Hell, being tormented by the Angels of Hell. You know, because he hates everything that's cute and cuddly, because he's Frieza. With their power dwindling due to the absence of their leader, the remnants of Frieza's army are led by an alien named Sorbet, who decides to revive their master. He then sets off to Earth with one other minion, Tagoma, where they convince Emperor Pilaf, Mai, and Shu, the Pilaf gang, who have collected the Dragon Balls, to let them summon Shenron instead. As Shenron is unable to fully revive Frieza, because, future Trunks come to pieces, he brings him back to life in pieces, and his minions put him together using their advanced technology regeneration machine. Shu uses Shenron's second wish for a million zeni, which irritates Sorbet, as he had been planning on reviving King Cold as well. But he allows Pilaf's gang to live, and both teams go their separate ways. Well, more like Tagoma keeps Sorbet from killing them, but besides the point. As soon as Frieza's body is regenerated, he emerges in his first form and announces to his soldiers that he will not be satisfied until Goku and Future Trunks have both been killed. Tagoma suggests to Frieza that he should just ignore Goku and the other Saiyans. Irritated, Frieza throws Tagoma out of the spaceship to his death. Yeah, it's still Frieza. He's still very much in character. Sorbet informs Frieza that they haven't been able to locate Future Trunks in all this time because, he's from the future. And that Goku's power surpassed that of even Majin Buu, which is far more than Frieza could have ever imagined. But due to him being a prodigy, Frieza states that through several months of serious training, the first time he's ever trained in his life, he will be able to unlock his dormant power and would be able to wipe out the Saiyans in the blink of an eye. So it's kind of using inspiration of the whole form beyond final form thing that Cooler came up with in Cooler's Revenge. And it's cool in a different way. Jocko, the Galactic Patrolman, the first big new character of the movie, and he's absolutely hilarious. He is a very enjoyable character. Travels to Earth to warn Bulma that Frieza is approaching. In response, Bulma tries to contact Whis by sending him a message by using a strawberry sundae, because, she tempts Whis with food. That's literally the only reason that the Earth is even still there. If you've watched Battle of Gods, you would know that. Without luck, Bulma contacts the Z-Fighters in order to fight Frieza. Gohan doesn't tell Goten and Trunks about the fight, which is smart, because he feels like they might do something rash. Even though they end up participating in the Super Arc of this version, but the Super Arc's trash, so we don't even need to go over that. Yamcha and Chaozu, who sensed Frieza's revival earlier, are asked by Tien Shinhan to stay away from the fight, as he fears that Frieza's new power may be too dangerous for them to handle. Good Boo is also absent, for he is in a deep sleep. A gag that they would repeat way too many times in the actual Super anime. Goku and Vegeta are training on Beerus' planet with Whis, unaware that Frieza has been revived. Gohan, Piccolo, Tien, Shinhan, Jaco, Krillin, and Master Roshi clash with an army of thousands of Frieza soldiers led by Sorbet. All are defeated with Gohan defeating Shisami. And Frieza destroys the entire army with the exception of Sorbet as punishment for their failure. The fight against the Z Fighters with the Frieza army is actually a highlight of the movie because it gives a bunch of these side characters that have pretty much been pushed to the background throughout the later arcs of Z now get to come back to the forefront and actually, participate in the battle. There's no Chaozu or Yamcha, no, but you do get to see Tien, you get to see Krillin, you get to see Master Roshi, you get to see Gohan. It's a really nice way to have some of the side characters have a little bit of spotlight because they all know that Goku is going to steal the whole runtime if they don't, because he's Goku. And Frieza destroying his entire army out of failure makes total sense with his character, so that's not a problem. Frieza's power in his first form is said to be in a different league than the Z Fighters present on Earth, for he was able to knock out Gohan with a single blow to the stomach, nearly killing him. Bulma's message eventually reaches Whis, and Goku and Vegeta travel back to Earth to fight Frieza. Whis and Beerus join them in order to eat a strawberry-flavored dessert Bulma has prepared for them. Yeah, let's talk about Bulma, Beerus and Whis for a little bit. They work well in the training scenes on Beerus' world. That part's fine. But having them in the actual battle scenes hurts the movie, because even if Goku and Vegeta are defeated and Frieza attempts to destroy Earth, well, then Beerus is just going to stop him. He's literally sitting right there. That makes no freaking sense. No sense at all. And not to mention, it's just stupid. So, yeah, I don't mind the whole them being on Beerus' planet training scenes. That is fine. But I cannot forgive them being in the battle, because even though they're just sitting there eating their sundae or whatever, if Frieza gets in the way of Beerus' food, then, well, Frieza's screwed. He's dead. He's screwed. He's going back to hell either way. So, having them there is completely, entirely pointless and kills any suspense that was left there, building up to that moment. So, yeah, that is a big problem with this movie. And thank you to Team 4-Star for helping me realize that. Because the first few times, I just had recency bias in my head and thought this was one of the greatest Dragon Ball movies ever. It still kind of is. I'm pretty sure it's at least top 10, but just barely. Where are we now? Before the fight begins, Frieza transforms straight to his final form, but is no match for Goku, who wields the power of Super Saiyan God. Goku then transforms into Super Saiyan Blue, and Frieza transforms into his new form, Golden Frieza. Okay, let's talk about the forms for a little bit. Let's start with Super Saiyan Blue, or as it was originally known before it was changed in Dragon Ball Super, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. First of all, terrible name. I don't know what was up with that. That is a terrible name. Not to mention, they still use that freaking name on the merchandise for this thing. They never call it Super Saiyan Blue. They only call it Blue in the anime, which is freaking stupid, but it's whatever. But as for the form itself, this may be controversial, because a lot of people love to complain about this form because there's not really an explanation for it, but again, there actually is an explanation for it if you're paying attention. And as for the form itself, I really like Super Saiyan Blue. I like its aesthetic. Blue is one of my favorite colors, next to green and red. And it looks really nice. Not to mention they chose this really bright, almost cyan-like blue. Kind of like what you see on Classic Sonic. And it looks really, really cool with the bright blue hair, the bright blue eyebrows, and especially the bright blue eyes. It looks really cool in my opinion. And as for Golden Frieza, this is okay. I'm not the biggest fan of the gold, but it kind of makes sense because he's using a color that has, haunted his nightmares against his enemies, and it makes a lot of sense. And for him to call it just Golden Frieza, again, makes sense. He literally says it himself to, keep it simple for the simpletons to remember. So, yeah. I don't mind either form. I think they're both pretty cool. I think Super Saiyan Blue is definitely a lot cooler in the actual Super anime, not in the Resurrection F arc. Universe 6 onward. That part of Super Saiyan Blue gets a lot cooler, especially when Goku later combines it with his Kaioken. That form is freaking sick. So, yeah, I like Super Saiyan Blue, and I do really like Golden Frieza. I just kind of feel like they could have explained them a little bit better. And as for the actual explanation for each, I mean, it makes sense. One, Frieza trained, he's never trained a day in his life, so he has this latent potential inside of him that he's now unlocking through this intense training. Thus, Golden Frieza. So it makes a lot of sense. And then with Super Saiyan Blue, it's kind of just a little offhand remark from Goku saying how he got a taste of something called Super Saiyan God, and then he's learned to tap into that on his own, and then my guess is that he learns to combine that with his Super Saiyan form, thus creating Super Saiyan Blue and kind of giving a little bit of sense to the form's original name, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. So, at the same time, it kind of makes sense if you really stop and think about it. So, it's not completely pointless. It's not just there just for fan service. It actually has a purpose and an explanation. After Frieza's power drops immensely due to the fact he didn't get used to this new form before he rushed to get revenge, Goku ultimately gains the upper hand, but when he inevitably defeats Frieza, he is blasted in the chest by Sorbet by a common ray gun, due to letting his guard down, leaving him terribly wounded. Frieza stands over the nearly incapacitated Goku and tortures him, offering Vegeta a chance to kill Goku in exchange for his own life. Again, makes a lot of sense because Frieza knows Vegeta, and he knows that Vegeta hates Goku, and he's, in his opinion, an annoying bastard, so it makes total entire sense. And then Vegeta refuses, and after telling off Goku for letting his guard down, saying Whis tried to warn him, which he did in an earlier training scene, which, yeah, that training scene's awesome, and that's one of the only good parts of the Resurrection arc in Super. Tells Krillin to revive Goku with a sensor beam. As the latter moves to do so, Frieza tries to attack him, but Vegeta intercepts and deflects Frieza's attack, which ends up killing Sorbet. I mean, the dude deserved it. He's literally the reason Frieza's still standing. Vegeta then transforms into a Super Saiyan Blue as well, much to Frieza's shock. Vegeta attacks Frieza, eventually causing him to revert to his final form, who then realizes that he cannot win as Vegeta finally gets the revenge against Frieza that he has longed to get for such a long time. Because, think about it, he got beat on Namek, he stood no chance against Mecha Frieza because Future Trunks stepped in before he even got a chance. So now this is his way of getting revenge for all the hell that Frieza put him through, that we're going to talk about much more when we get to the Namek/Frieza saga. But the point is, it's an amazing moment that is absolutely ruined. Because now we gotta talk about that awful ending. Before Vegeta can deliver the final blow, Frieza decides to destroy the planet, killing Vegeta in the process. That part's fine. That is a nice change-up, and it means that Frieza actually wins and gets to destroy planet Earth. That is a really nice, change of pace. I do not mind that at all. Earth is destroyed, but Whis manages to save himself, Beerus, Bulma, Krillin, Gohan, Goku, Master Roshi, Piccolo, Tien, and Jocko by creating a small bubble around them, because he's an angel and he can do that. While Bulma despairs because, she just lost her entire family, Goku expresses his regret that he didn't kill Frieza when he had the chance, which, I'm glad they tried to address that Goku's mercy ends up being a crutch, but they did a horrible way of trying to actually do that. Whis tells him that he has the power to redo time, but only 3 minutes into the past. He does so, and they arrive back before Frieza destroys the Earth. Goku immediately attacks with a God Kamehameha and kills Frieza. Once Frieza returns to Hell, he is mocked by the Angels of Hell who welcome him back. And, of course, Goku just had to win in the end, right? You couldn't let Vegeta have one nice moment, writers. Really? You had the perfect part right there. And not to mention, having Frieza destroy the Earth, that's a really good way of teaching Goku about consequences of mercy. That is a really good motivator to push him forward. But no, you had to do the stupid time jump cop-out crap and rip that entire great scene away from Vegeta just so Goku gets the win. that is lazy, that is disrespectful, and that is a huge slap in the face to his character. It is more than likely and arguably the most disrespectful thing they have ever done to Vegeta. And yes, I know that's probably saying a lot since GT exists, but point is, that is an awful ending. The ending of this movie is terrible. I'm not even going to try to argue that. It was terrible in 2015, and it's still terrible now. Seriously, just screw everything about that ending. It is freaking garbage. And almost 10 years later, it's not any better. It's still one of the most lazy, terrible endings in all of the Dragon Ball franchise. So aside from the crappy ending, the story itself is still good. Yes, bringing back Frieza again was a bit of a lazy concept, but they found a way to make it interesting. Not to mention, I like how it ties back into the actual original arcs of Super later on. So, yeah, the story's still good. I just hate that freaking ending. That ending is so bad. But the fight against Goku and Frieza itself is pretty good. Alright, here's your timeline placement. The film takes place 6 to 10 months after the events of Battle of Gods, in June of age 779, just after Pan was born. We don't actually get to see Pan being born, we just see little baby Pan at the beginning of the movie. Frieza comes back to life and decides to train for a period of 4 months to achieve a new evolution form, Golden Frieza. Also, the events are stated to be set 5 years before the 28th World Martial Arts Tournament, or Tenkaichi Budokai, in age 784, serving as a sequel to Battle of Gods. It is placed between the chapters 517 and 518 of the manga. According to the Dragon Ball SSSS timeline, the film occurs sometime around age 778, while Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 has it occurring around age 779. So that's your timeline placement. I'm not going over any facts or anything like that, it's just stupid. Okay, here's your voice cast. Sean Shoma's Goku, Kyle Herbert's Gohan, Christopher Sabat's Vegeta, Monica Rial is back as Bulma. Again, I'll have a lot more to say about her when we get to DBS Broly, which, coincidentally, is the next video. Mike McFarlane's Master Roshi, Sonny Strait as Krillin, Christopher Sabat's Piccolo, Eric Vale as Future Trunks for 5 seconds, John Bergermeyer is Teen Shinhan, Todd Haberkorn is Jocko, he does an amazing job, he's hilarious. Kara Edwards as Videl, Mark Starr as Dr. Briefs, Meredith McCoy as Android 18, who's barely in the movie, Shenron's Christopher Sabat, and I think that's, yeah. And then the late, great Chris Ayres is Frieza, reprising his role from, I believe, DBZ Kai, so, yeah. I have a whole thing planned for Chris Ayres for the next video. May he forever rest in peace, and to this day, he is still, in my opinion, the best Frieza we've ever gotten. More than likely, he will never be topped. And then the Oracle Fish, Monica Rial is back as the fish as well. And then moving on, and then of course we have Jason Douglas back as Beerus, and Ian Sinclair back as Whis. And then Sorbet is voiced by Jeremy Schwartz. He does a pretty good job. Tagama is voiced by Micah Solusad? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He does alright. Shishami is voiced by Brad Venable. He barely does anything. He's fine. Charles Cambert is a Frieza Force officer. He's fine. Chuck Huber is back as Pilaf. He's fine. Colin Klingerbeard's Mai is fine. Chris Kaysen as Shu is fine. Tia Boward's Marin. She's fine. And then the Angels of Hell are voiced by Laura Woodall, Terry Doty, Apaya Yu, Z. Charles Bolton, Phil Parsons, Tyler Walker, and Kyle Phillips. They're all right. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah. The voice cast is still very good here. Alright, now let's go ahead and get right into my final written review and the final verdict. My freaking mouse wants to work. There we go. Alright. Pretty good animation with the exception of the crappy CGI. good story, amazing action. I love the fights in the movie. All the fights are pretty good. Stellar voice acting, fun new characters. I mean, Jocko the Patrolman is now a staple of Dragon Ball, and I love it. He's hilarious. A pretty good final battle, pretty cool new forms. I already said my piece about Super Saiyan Blue and Golden Frieza. Some very funny moments, especially the train scenes when Whis steps and poop. I mean, that shouldn't be funny, but it ends up being funny. Decent writing, a solid pace, a good runtime, and some pretty good music. Even though I'm not a fan of the Frieza song. Just no. However, unlike Battle of Gods, which is aged like fine wine, this one sadly aged more like spoiled milk, because it has a lot of problems. The beginning is slow, the plot takes forever to actually get going. Gohan's tracksuit is terrible. Yeah, why is Gohan in a tracksuit? Why? Like, yes, they try to explain it in the movie, but I don't care. It's stupid. Why is he just not in his gi? I understand he's trying to give up training, for family stuff, but, I mean, at least keep your gi somewhere where you can find it easily, Gohan. I thought you were smarter than that. Good grief. Numerous plot holes littered throughout. The runtime, while mostly good, could have been cut down by at least 15 minutes to remove all the boring filler. And that ending is a horrible, lazy, disrespectful cop-out, and a huge slap in the face to Vegeta's character that always has been and always will be endlessly infuriating. Overall though, while it's a huge step backwards from Battle of Gods, it's still on its own a pretty good movie that fans will still enjoy. Yes, it has a lot of fundamental flaws, but it's still pretty entertaining and far from the worst of this franchise. Definitely recommended, but skip the crappy ending. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Overall, it's still a pretty good movie. I still enjoy it, and I still recommend you give it a look, but just be aware of its many numerous problems. It's not an amazing movie. It's a huge step backwards from the masterpiece that was Battle of Gods, but as it is, it's still a pretty good movie. So you know what? For that, I think I'm going to give it a final verdict of a 7.5 out of 10 for Resurrection F. 7.5 out of 10. It's still a pretty enjoyable, entertaining movie. It just has a lot of problems that keeps it from being able to even be great. And not nearly as great as Battle of Gods. So, yep. That's my thoughts on Resurrection F. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please go subscribe to Brett Sutton. He's the one that recommended this movie way back when this marathon first started. And I only hope that this review satisfied him, specifically. So, yep, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. And tomorrow is going to be a fun one, because I just reviewed a movie that's not nearly as good as Battle of Gods. Now we have what is, in my opinion, the greatest Dragon Ball movie we've ever gotten to date. And yes, I will die on that hill. So, I'll see you guys next time for the incredible masterpiece that is Dragon Ball Super Broly. This is going to be a very fun review. Well, here's the intro for that review. See you tomorrow. Peace.